Hey everyone, my name is Abhijit and I welcome you all to this demo video of SD Access. In this video, we're going to look at what all are the components that make this particular course SD Access too much important for today's infrastructure, and we will also look at what kind of key components are available in the SD Access solution that is offered by Cisco, and what makes it one of the best solutions out there for managing your campus network. So the screen on my screen, you can see that we have the latest and greatest Cisco Catalyst Center login window available. And in this particular window, I'll just click on login in order to be able to log in into this particular controller. The login page shall just come up where I'll put up my credentials. And if everything goes well, we should be able to log in inside the DNA Center now, which is called as Catalyst Center.
If you enjoyed the content of the video, don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to our channel.
So what we learn in this particular course is we would be able to manage your campus fabric that includes your core and distribution and access layer devices from a centralized point of touch by using Catalyst Center. You can see on the home page that the Cisco's DNA Center, which used to be the name of the official controller that comes along with the SD Access solution, that name is going to be changed and it will be rebranded to Catalyst Center, just like how Cisco changed the name of Viptela SD-WAN to Catalyst SD-WAN. Likewise, the name for the Catalyst Center is the new one that will be using for the component or for the controller that comes along with the SD Access. But before jumping into detail, what I'd like to talk about over here is what exactly is SD Access solution. So we'll come back to this particular GUI really quick, but first let's talk about what exactly is SD Access solution. So when you look at the SDN infrastructure that Cisco has in the SDN umbrella, Cisco has about 3 solutions that Cisco offers. One is the Catalyst SD-WAN solution. The second one is, I would say, SD Access solution, and the third one is ACI. So when you look at how Cisco started, well, Cisco started the journey towards digitizing networks in 2015. And with the vision of creating a network that is flexible and agile, Cisco DNA, which was earlier the solution, now which is Catalyst Center, it provides you features to automate, features to get assurance, and features to implement security in your campus network. The ultimate goal is to have an IT network that addresses the challenges of modern networks or traditional way of managing your networks, right? And as discussed previously, this particular solution will also act as a single point of touch for managing the entire solution. Well, that's where the SDN solution, that's what the SDN solutions are aimed for, right? Usually when you look at the SDN architecture, then when you look at SDN architecture, you usually have an admin PC. That particular PC is going to manage or speak with the controller. The controller, by connecting to any type of transport which is going to be provided by your ISP, it communicates with the infrastructure. Now the infrastructure can be anything depending on the type of solution that you're using. If you're using SD-WAN, then using SD-WAN will allow you to manage all WAN edge devices of your infrastructure. The SD Access will allow you to manage all campus network devices. And the ACI will allow you to manage all the Nexus 9K switches in the infrastructure. And every solution comes up with a controller. So when you work with SD-WAN, you get a solution, or you get something called vManager, or that is also now called as manager. The SD access gives you something called DNA Center or DNAC, and now the name is changed to Catalyst Center. And in ACI, you get something called EPIC, Application Policy Infrastructure Controller. So these, you can say, controllers will be sitting over here depending on the type of solution that you're using, and then you will be able to manage your infrastructure devices. Now, when you look at that, the SDN makes it possible to design and build networks by decoupling the control and forwarding planes. So a separate control plane creates a programmable network environment to abstract the underlying infrastructure for application and services. And through abstraction, one can achieve common network policy or quick implementation of network services and reduce complexity with a centralized controller. And DNA is something that's called as intent-based network, binding business context to the policy managed by the controller, and that has a central view to the network domain that you have. So it creates a network focused on the network, which is focused on the intent and the security, that looks like a logical switch for the application and services that it serves, right? When you look at the way how the DNA fabric is created, there are a lot of devices that gets used. So if you look at the image which is available over here, this is how the architecture is going to look like. So we have a lot of devices that can be managed, and if you look at them, this is what your Cisco DNA Center is. The Cisco DNA Center is integrated with Cisco ISE, Identity Services Engine, to provide user identity services, and then together they basically communicate over IP with the infrastructure that you have over here. This is gonna be your campus network. And then this campus network can have a lot of devices. For example, some of the devices are gonna be called as fabric border nodes, which are the core layer devices that you have. Then you also have intermediate nodes, which are kind of gonna be the distribution layer devices in your 3-layer hierarchical model. And then you also have fabric edge nodes that are available over here, which are acting as the switches that actually connects to access points, the wireless access points that you have. And then you also have fabric wireless controllers. You have control plane nodes. These are mostly WLCs. These are going to be iOS XC devices. And then you have, again, fabric wireless access point that you have. All of these devices are something that can be controlled by your DNA center. When we say control, how exactly this is going to work? So the campus fabric is composed of a control plane, a data plane, and a policy plane that are required to operate the network infrastructure. And the policy plane is provided by the Cisco TrustSec using the ISE. When you try to implement this, you could say that the SD access is the GUI based approach to create the Cisco's campus fabric using DNA Center as the Catalyst Center as the controller for orchestration. So the Catalyst Center integrates multiple systems to orchestrate and provision configuration on the campus LAN fabric, wireless LAN fabric, or WAN, and the security products like ISE. So the automation is powered by Catalyst Center that uses the CLI or netconf or gang in combination in order to push configuration onto the devices. So when you look at that, I would say all these devices are something that can be managed. Now, what exactly do we talk about when we learn this particular course? Because if you look at the course outline now, there are a few important sections that we talk about. Section 1 is gonna be the fundamentals of SDN. Now, in fundamentals of SDN, we usually talk about how the network will be migrated from traditional way of managing the network to the SDN way of managing your network. And since this is a big change, I often talk about this in almost all of our courses that are focused towards SDN approach, including SD-WAN, including network automation, including DevNet, right? So we learn about the fundamentals of SDN. After that, we learn about the solution that is going to be introduction to SD access. And when we talk about this introduction to SD access, this is where you learn about the challenges with today's network. What exactly is SDN? Then how the SD access works. It outlines the components of Cisco's SD access for campus network and how using the Catalyst Center incorporates automation, analytics, networking, and security all together, and then allows you to manage your network in a better way possible. It also has components like network access control, introduction to Cisco ICE, introduction to the ICE's design considerations, and how segmentation of traffic with Cisco TrustSec can be done. That's something that you're going to learn about in the introduction to SD access. And then we jump into introduction to Catalyst Center. And this is where we learn about various components of Catalyst Center. So we learn about network topologies, where we're going to talk about the various physical network topologies that are supported in the SD access network. We talk about the software defined access underlay, right? Then we talk about how wireless LAN controllers or WLCs and access points can become part of your SD access. How shared services usually work. For example, how configuration and connectivity of services like DHCP, DNS, NTP can be used. And then post that, we will also learn about transit networks, right? This section usually covers the transit options for SD access for connectivity to the outside world. Then how we're going to look at how fabric creation can be done, how fabric devices role can be done, how the onboarding of the campus network can be done into the Catalyst Center. That's something that we learn about over here. Then we talk about ICE integration with Catalyst Center, or SD access, whatever you call it. So we learn about the policy management in Catalyst Center with Cisco ICE. We learn about the group-based access control. We learn about segmentation with third-party ready server. We learn about the secure host onboarding in the enterprise network, because most of the time now organizations allow BYOD, right? Bring your own device, where the employee can bring their own laptop and then connect it to the corporate network. So ICE kind of has the capability of doing posture assessment and know if there is any malicious file present onto the employee's computer before letting it actually onboard onto the corporate network. So we're going to learn about that. We'll also learn about the host onboarding along with the ICE policies and all that stuff. And post that, we will jump into the SD access operations and troubleshootings. So in operation troubleshooting, we talk about the underlying protocols that are used in SD access fabric. We talk about how the host connect to the SD access fabric and how packets flow between fabric hosts and outside of the fabric. We talk about how troubleshooting or common troubleshooting issues are identified and done in the fabric, and how authentication and policy troubleshooting happens. That's what we generally talk about it. And lastly, we're going to look at some of the advanced SD access operations. This is where we look at how the SD access extension can be done with IoT, how multicast flows in SD access, how layer 2 flooding or layer 2 border devices can be integrated in the fabric, how the SD access can work for distributed campus deployments, how SD access design consideration needs to be done, right? How SD access policy extension can be done to the SD-WAN or ACI. All of that stuff is something that we talk about. So you start from nothing at the fundamentals of SDM, then you jump into the SD access introduction, you learn Catalyst Center, you learn the integration with ICE, you learn how the fabric entirely works internally, and the advanced topics. This is where, and there are a lot of subtopics also that we learn about. And like I said, the course is all about you learning how to deploy DNA Center, how to deploy ICE, how to integrate both of these together, and then how your campus fabric can become part of your DNA Center or Catalyst Center. In this course, every participant will be getting their unique lab where there are mainly 3 takeaways. So when you look at the lab infra, number 1, every participant would be getting a Windows machine. So that's barely Windows 10 jump host. Then you get an EVE-NG simulator for creating a campus network. And third one, you get Catalyst Center. So the EVE-NG simulator, now this is where you're gonna connect. Your Windows 10 will be exposed out to the commodity internet, and then user can directly do RDP to the Windows 10, and then Windows 10 will allow you to communicate with both. And both of these are also incorporated together. So you can create your campus fabric in the EVE-NG simulator, and then those devices can be onboarded in Catalyst Center. You can use Catalyst Center to manage configuration, provisioning, troubleshooting, everything on those boxes. So let's get to know about what exactly this Catalyst Center GUI consists of. If you pay some attention over here, when I log in into the Catalyst Center on the home page shows you the assurance summary. I can now close this dialog box, and over here you get to know, you have a top menu over there. Then you have welcome to Catalyst Center, and this is where you have assurance summary, where it tells you how many percent of, or what's the percentage of network devices having the health of your network devices, of your wireless clients, of your wired clients. You get to know about these. Then you can see if there are any critical issues reported in last 24 hours. You can also get to know about the trends and insights like access point performance advisories and trend deviations. Then you get to know about the network snapshots, about the sites that you have, about the total network devices that you have, network profiles that you have, software images that you have, the licensed devices, and some other details. With that, if you hover yourself to the main menu and expand that, you have this main menu where you see the design section. That's where you can do network hierarchy, network settings, network profiles, image repository management can be done, service provider profiles can be created, CLI templates can be created here, feature templates can be created, authentication templates can be created. Under policy section, you will be able to do IP and URL based access control. Under provisioning, this is one of the main menu that you have. This is where we kind of manage the network devices with the inventory, plug and play, LAN automation, and inventory insights. And under the services menu, we can do service catalog. We can look at the Cisco's user-defined network and site-to-site VPN configuration. Under assurance, you will be able to look at the dashboards that you have and the analytics menu that you have for the health, issues and events, Wi-Fi 6, power over Ethernet, dashboard library, and then a lot of other things. Then you have workflows. You can create your custom workflow for managing your fabric, right? You can build and maintain your network more efficiently with workflows. So if you want to create a workflow for image update, site-to-site VPN, there are a lot of workflows that you can create over here. And you can even create your own custom one. So you can choose the intent from the drop-down menu over here. whether the intent can be to onboard and provision the network devices, or the intent can be to add network capabilities. The intent can be to perform software upgrades and certain other things. When I jump to tools, under tools, you have discovery of devices, topology creation can be done, command runner, license manager, right? Template hub, all these fields are there. Then under platform, you have the overview, management, developer toolkit, and runtime dashboard. This platform section is mainly about the API operation that happens. Then you have activities to track any logs or alerts. You have reports. You can create custom reports for the fabric that you have. And then you also have the system settings menu, where you have system 360, software management, backup and restore, user management, and all that stuff. So in the provisioning section, this is where mainly we're gonna work with. If I go to inventory over here, let's say I have a device available in my fabric, and that device is something that I want to add. Well, the type of devices that you can add and work with are routers, switches, wireless controllers, access points, and sensors, IoT device sensors. And then you can feel free to add any type of device. For example, I just need to click on add device. When I click on add device, I can choose what type of device is it, right? Network device, compute device, Meraki dashboard, firepower management center, FMC, or third-party device. If I select network device, I need to provide the IP address of the device. You need to provide the login credentials so that the Catalyst Center can actually manage the device from an administrative perspective. Since the Catalyst Center also tracks the logs, so you need to provide SNMP read-write permissions, right? You need to create the community configuration on the device. There definitely is a basic configuration that goes on into the box, which you need to do. And then along with that, you can provide API or netconf access to the device. And the device can be connected using SSH or Telnet, which you can do. As soon as you add the device will be contacted from the Catalyst Center and it will be onboarded into the box. How exactly does that work? That's something which is a lengthy process, which we'll be discussing very soon in our course. But yeah, this is one of the go-to thing. The interesting part is the campus networks for a larger organization is distributed across the globe, right? So you may have a couple of offices in Middle East, you may have a couple of offices in the APAC region, maybe some in America region, maybe some in Europe region. So you can create all these sites, because right now you can see over here, we have selected global, right? And you can definitely create your sites. The sites will allow you to manage the topological understanding of your network from a better perspective. So you can create your network hierarchy. And there in the network hierarchy menu, you can see a map over here. You can go and say add a site. When I click on add a site, it says add an area or add a building. So under global, you can definitely add area, buildings, or import and export sites, import floor maps, import access points, right? Or export floor maps. When I say add an area, it definitely asks me what's the area name. I may say the area name is Delhi. And who's the parent? Parent is global. So I can add that. And when I add that inside my site, you can see Delhi was added. Now in Delhi, I can basically create a building, and that particular building can be maybe West Delhi, right? And over here, I can add that. You can provide the latitude, longitude, exact address, all of these details. Some of the details are required. You can do that. And then when you onboard your device, that device can become part of your fabric. So a lot of these things are available in your, you can see now that one site is added. Likewise, the devices will also be added. And these devices can definitely be managed from the controller. Overall, when you look at the SD access kind of allows you to manage your campus fabric from a centralized point of infrastructure. And similarly, there are other solutions by Cisco. This is one of that. And I'm looking forward to see all of you joining this particular course and learning about this solution, because the solution is something that organizations are adapting pretty fast. Let's see how that goes up. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the content of this demo video, and I'd like to see you participating into our full training. All the best. Take care. Thank you so much.